of the things for us to understand is that, as we talked about on the last show, is that nobody is ever going to take as much care and attention for our health as we are. Like, it's not important to somebody else the way it is to us. And if we want to check that out, we can just look at some basic numbers. In the 1970s, there was almost nobody in America under the age of 40 that had type 2 diabetes. It was almost non-existent. We called it type 2 diabetes, we called it adult onset diabetes because you had to be an adult to get it. Of course, that's all changed now. And there are now something like 20 million young Americans that are dealing with diabetes or prediabetes, and 100 million Americans dealing with it, which means 1 in 3 people. So if the government or the food industries really cared about individual health, I suspect those numbers might be somewhat different. So bearing in mind, they're not going to take responsibility for our health, and bearing in mind that they're really going to be mostly taking responsibility for their own profits, we now need to take responsibility for our health. So that means undoing some of the hypnosis, undoing some of the misinformation, and undoing some of the education that they've done for us. And that means creating our own sense of food consciousness. So let me give you a really great example of how this kind of thing works, is that, look, I went to an Anglican school, so I remember very often reading the Bible, and I remember the whole nativity story. There was that question. There was the whole pregnancy thing, and then there was the giving the birth to Jesus, and then there was the 3 wise men in the manger and all that stuff. Remember? And what's really fascinating is the 3 wise men brought frankincense, myrrh, and gold. That's what the wise men brought, not candy canes and pumpkin pie.
Right.
They didn't bring that. That was taught to us later. And now there are people who feel like Christmas can't be complete without Christmas cakes. They can't be complete without candy canes. And then in the follow-up to that event, I remember the next part at the end of that story, Jesus is crucified and all that stuff's happening. And I remember the story quite well. I remember a lot about it. But you know what I don't remember? I don't remember there being chocolate. I don't remember there being, Judas did not come and go, Jesus, have some chocolate. There was no chocolate. And yet somehow the food industry has married chocolate to Easter to the point that people today are like, I can't have Easter without chocolate. And they're not just doing that with our holidays, they're doing it.
Right. If you really look at the Last Supper, it's filled with fruits and vegetables and meats, and it's beautiful. Yes, it's true.
And so now we're in a place where the food industry is buying our holidays, buying our special experiences. Oh my gosh, your kids won the baseball game. What are you going to get? Pizza. It's like hardwired in. So one of the things we have to do is to start being aware of the manipulation and watching it happen, so that it's kind of like a magic trick. I went to this magic show once, and the guy made a Lamborghini levitate on the stage, ever so impressive. And then he took a ring and he made the ring go around the Lamborghini. But the problem is, at the back of the Lamborghini, the ring got caught on the machinery that was lifting the Lamborghini and split the ring. And instantly you knew there was a crane back there lifting the Lamborghini. Illusion was busted, and not another trick he did that night was good because of it. Well, what if we started to learn what the food industry was doing? I saw this incredible video, Lisa. It's so beautiful. Somebody went out and bought all this like CCTV footage of random acts of kindness. It's the most gorgeous thing. You see this little lady trying to cross this, road in the middle of the snowstorm in the Ukraine, and these 2 young men come along and grab her under the arms and carry her across the street and stop the traffic. And another woman drops her wallet at the bank machine, but a young man walks up and he grabs the wallet and he brings it over to her. And it's random act of unbelievable kindness after kindness. And you're feeling good and you're feeling love and you're producing oxytocin. And then they go, bam, Atlanta-based soft drink company. I didn't mention any names. But, they put that logo up right in front of your face, bright red, while you're at the peak of the emotional experience. It's a Pavlovian dog situation. They're trying to anchor their brand to that feeling so that you then go buy that feeling with their brand.
You see the same thing with the pharmaceutical commercials. Absolutely. Relationship, there's a whole story that unfolds. It's like a documentary. And then they have the pharmaceutical. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then the next thing we can look at is how our parents, in every bit of loving attention, didn't know what they were doing, but they also conditioned us a little bit. Like, your child falls down and skins their knee. And as a parent, they'll do anything to end their pain, maybe a chocolate chip cookie. And so now they get the distraction from the pain with the chocolate chip cookie. You're also giving them a hug and consoling them. And they create a neuroassociation that the chocolate chip cookie is a pain reliever and a love inducer. And then you wonder why at 40 years old, they can eat a whole box of chocolate chip cookies, because they're addicted to that emotion. In fact, a mutual friend of ours, who I won't name on the show right now, but a mutual friend of ours, went through our Wildfit quest, went through the 90-day program, and radically altered her relationship with food. She wrote me the most beautiful, heart-filled message. She said, I can't believe I'm now in my mid-40s and I am loving wearing a two-piece swimsuit at the beach for the first time since I was in my teens. But she said, I have one more problem. I don't know what it is, but just lately, this craving for icing has come up. I don't understand it. I in every other way, sugar's gone, but icing, there's just, what's going on? And I said, okay, hold on, let's stop and talk about it. And I said, did your mom used to bake for you? Yes. Did your mom make homemade, I said, because I'm imagining her mom let her lick out the bowl or something like that. And she got love from, no, she says, my mom bought canned icing. I don't know. No. And I go, well, tell me how it used to be. She goes, I'd hear the can opener. I'd come running down the stairs. I'd grab a spoon out of the bowl. I'd hide under the counter and I'd spoon out some icing and eat it. And I'd usually get away with 2 before she caught me. She knew the whole time. It was a game we played and it was super fun. And I said, really? How's your relationship with your mother right now? And she just bursts into tears and she says, I'm losing my mother to dementia. As she loses connection with her mother, she's doing everything she can to reconnect with her mother. And icing was one of the ways she did that as a child. And as soon as she saw it and shone a bright enough light on it, it was gone because she knew consciously that it wasn't working. And that's what we have to do for people.
We have a strong emotional connection to food. So if we can change that emotional connection to food, then the cravings go away.
Yeah, sometimes they go away right away. As soon as you shine a light on the connection, you go, oh my God, I was eating icing to connect with my mother. That's just ridiculous. And then it stops. But other times it's harder than that. I'll give you an idea of how pervasive this can be. One of the things that we eat is nostalgia. If you were given candy cane, or how about this, cotton candy? If you went off to Disney and you got your cotton candy, then even now as an adult in your 40s or 50s, you can be like, ooh, cotton candy. Like the nostalgia is really important. So here, I am not interested in donuts. I don't want them. It doesn't require willpower. I'm just not interested anymore. But what's really fascinating is 3 years ago, my wife and I went back to Halifax, Nova Scotia, where I grew up, to have a baby. And there we were. And I was driving down the street one day. And in Canada, we have our version of Krispy Kreme. It's called Tim Hortons. It's like a donut place. And I've seen them all over Canada. I don't even notice them. Don't stop at them. They're not for me. But Lisa, I'm driving along one day and I passed the same Tim Hortons that we used to stop at the end of hockey games and school and all that stuff. And I pulled up beside it. I didn't think anything of it. Pulled up beside it, listened to some music, and this little food devil on my shoulder goes, hey, Eric, they've got maple-filled donuts in there. I was like, what? I don't eat maple-filled. Why are you even telling me that? And you know what it was? It wasn't even that the brand got to me. It was that location where the nostalgia was. And so as we gain consciousness about that stuff, we move toward freedom.